Good morning. Good morning. I am so excited to greet you this day. It is, what is it? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? It's crazy because I don't actually know. Um, but I do believe it is a Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday, April 6th. And I want to welcome you to this edition of Morning Glory. I am so excited to have this opportunity. We're waiting on Stephanie. I know she'll be here soon. I am usually the one that is running behind, and it's all good. But today, it seems like I beat Stephanie online, and so I figured I would go ahead and get started. You guys, I get so excited about the richness of these morning broadcasts because they allow me, they allow us to really take a deep dive into some of the things that are basically significant to us, to the two of us, and we get to talk about those things. And right now, we are working out of Anatomy of the Spirit, and
Good morning. Sorry.
are going through that. Hey, Stephanie. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. My computer was like acting old. Didn't want to.
Turn.
Yes, my turn. I don't know what that was about.
Wow.
And anyway, I'm gonna call AT&T though and see if there's a faster internet speed.
You have AT&T.
Mm,
It's interesting because so many people go through so much drama with these internet providers. And I hear, some of, especially our politicians that talk about how there are speeds available, we simply don't have access to them. So depending upon where you are in reference,
live
huh?
where you live, your
Yeah,
zip code.
yeah, in reference to some of the things that are available, you could be living in the city of Cleveland and may not have good internet connection. Just basically because I don't know if it's the will of AT&T and Spectrum and the big companies or what, but maybe it's that they don't see the money here, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's just annoying.
Yeah, I when I went to Kansas, the light is bothering me. When I went to Kansas, well, before I went to Kansas, I thought I was gonna have to take this laptop into the shop. I kept saying I gotta take it into the shop. It's you remember I was saying it's slow and it's hard to for internet um pages to come up, websites to come up. It was taking a long time for it to populate, like today. Um,
Mhm.
but then when I went to Kansas, it was just popping up. I was in Johnson County, of course,
Mm,
and it was just boom, 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 boom. No problem at all. No
right,
spinning, no nothing. So it's
right.
not my laptop, it's something else that's going on.
Mm.
It's real. It's
Yeah, it's
probably
almost like
real.
they create congestion. They
Yeah.
want to talk about the
Oh, that's so
digital
good.
divide.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about this, but then they create all these obstacles for people to have access. And it's really to the point where it is annoying. I know that some years ago, a few years back, there was down around Case Western Reserve, not only was the internet free and open, it was like the fastest stuff you could get. And so I guess I think that a lot of that is dependent upon zip code or the area in which we live. So hopefully we can shine a spotlight on some of the discrepancies in service as well. And sometimes we even so I don't know. So there are areas right here in Ohio where they have internet that is totally free to the residents of that particular area.
Yes.
And yet we pay, and the prices just keep going up for the same service, right? They'll tell me, oh, that was an introductory offer.
Yes.
That you had that price for 2 years and now it's $90 a month just for, but if you bundle it, I'm like,
I
don't
don't have a phone. I don't
that.
need a phone.
Yeah, I don't want that, right? So I tell you, it is crazy. It's crazy. But welcome this morning. Yay.
Yes, a
Yeah.
beautiful day. It is a beautiful day
Yes.
already.
And it is going to be a beautiful day. I'm excited for the sunshine and the warmth and all those things that are happening here in the midst of spring. I'm really excited about this day and what as it unfolds. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me tell you, let me do this first, because thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this day. Thank you for each and every eye and ear, for anybody who thinks on this, anybody who is touched by this. I thank you for blessing each and every one of us here, and knowing that the words spoken here are filled with your light, love, and wisdom of the highest. We just bless this moment, this space, and so it is.
So
Amen.
it is. Good.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. When you get into your flow, there is a thing called flow.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tarry here for a minute. There's this thing called flow. And when you get into the flow, it's as if, like, when you see the birds that are flying in formation, they talk about how they create what is it, a wave or a vibrational energy, that so they don't all have to work so hard. It is as if they are all going on the momentum created by the other wings flapping. And so what you'll see is you'll see a point bird, and then that point bird will fall back and the next bird will come up, and they will keep rotating because they are all sharing in this energy, this flow that is going forward. I so one time, I tell this often because I thought it was so significant. I have heard people talk about these moments of flow that has been created, and you see it in athletes and athletic sports, but sometimes we are sort of innocent bystanders in it. And I got to tell you this one time that it happened to me. Before. I had gone to a Parliament Funkadelics concert.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you ever if you have ever gone to a Parliament Funkadelic concert.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, there is this beat, this rhythm, and sometimes the repetition of the words, and everybody that gets on the same wavelength, that creates a pulse or a vibration, and it's just like this feeling that is just off the chain. People who went to places like Woodstock, or sometimes when you go to concerts, just depending upon the thing, you will feel that same, like that same kind of vibrational energy that happens all over the place. So one time I went to this Parliament Funkadelics concert, and it was down at, I think it was Peabody's when it used to be downtown.
Okay.
Down, Peabody's down under, or something like that. I went down to this concert, and Parliament's was there, and it was jam packed. I mean, standing room. So even after, standing room only. So even after they had sold tickets, they were still back, things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember standing up on this platform, and we were jamming so tough. It wasn't, I don't even think I was drinking or anything at the time, but it was like this just, and they were saying whatever it was they were saying, and we was calling it back, and it was just, this whole thing. And for some reason, I thought to myself, I wonder if everybody is jamming as hard as I am. There's this point at which it seems like the music, I don't even know how to describe it. It's this point at which we were jamming so tough. We were mesmerized by the music, and it had a beat, it seemed like all its own. And I remember thinking, I wonder if everybody is jamming like me. And as I turned my head, it was as if I was tearing something in a piece of fabric. And I was thinking to myself, and it was almost like there was a pressure to try to turn my focus away from where they were. And it was like, as I looked around, I was thinking to myself, because everybody seemed like they were in a trance, just, to this beat, to this rhythm. I'm like, and because I felt like I could feel it like a tear necessary, I was like thinking to myself, whoa, what is created here?
Right.
Oh, it was
Yes.
but then the funny thing is that now if I tune into a Parliament Funkadelic concert or see George, it's almost as if you can drop back into that level of hypnotism because you have already been there. Talk about the funk. Oh my gosh. so I always think about that when I think about flow, right? I think about flow. So now I say that to say yesterday, I messed around. I needed to clean off my desk and do some other things. And then I decided I was going to run to the store because there's some chairs that I've been meaning to pick up, but I don't have a truck. So I needed to get somebody to pick up these chairs, but I needed to go make sure that they were still at the store. So I get in my car with my dog and I go to the store. Now, prior to this, I had been on this kick where I was saying to myself, and I started shopping for it. I need a massage table. That's what I said, Stephanie. What do I need a massage table for? I was like, okay, I'm just going to get one to fold up and I'm going to put it down here in the room. And when I need this massage table, I can just pull it out. And so I had been shopping for one, right? I go on OfferUp and a Facebook Marketplace because I didn't want to pay full price for it, but I still wanted a massage table. So I get in the car way later than what I had thought in my mind I was going to do, maybe about 2:00, and I drive up to the store. And as I'm driving to the store, why do I see this massage table sitting on somebody's lawn? And as I'm driving past, I'm looking.
What?
And I'm thinking, why is that out there? So I go on and I go to the store.
Did you really?
I go on and I go to the store, and it's like vexing me. It's vexing me. Okay, this is here. So I get out, I go in the store, I see that they have the chairs. I go back, I get in my car, and now I drive back over to where I saw the table. I park my car and I get out. Now there's some guys in the back that are working on this house. And so I'm like, hello, excuse me, because I didn't want to just go and pick up the darn table. I got a little car, so I couldn't pick up the table. So I'm like, asking them, excuse me. So they come back and they cut off their equipment. And so I started talking to them. That table out there, I was like, is it out there? What's the story? And he was like, now, mind you, so the guy was like, he's telling me, he was like, yeah, he was like, you want it? And just this time, there's another guy who walks up just as I'm asking about the table. And the other guy walks up and he was like, oh, she wants it? Because I was stopping to see if I could get it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh man, and I see
timing.
He has a truck. I wasn't going to say, oh, I was here first, because I didn't have a truck. I didn't have a way to get it home. So he said something about, he was like, oh, you getting rid of that stuff? And they were like, yeah. And he was like, I said, what? I said, I wanted the table, but I don't have a truck. And then he was like, well, he says, are you getting the bike too? And I said, no, I don't want the bike. I just want the table. And he was like, well, I can deliver it for you for a small fee. Girl, I love it when you get in the flow, when you are in that moment and everything just, not only did I get the massage table, I got it for free. And the guy asked me for what, $10 to bring it to my house.
Oh,
it's like so serendipitous.
I love that kind of stuff.
I do.
Oh my goodness.
So, as we go through this experience, whatever it is, hold in your heart what it is that your desires are. I don't like to make it seem like it's the material stuff that we're after, but it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be working out an issue that you've been working through, it could be anything. But as we come to this work, it is a sacred work, it's a sacred space.
True. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the energy around it has power and has potential. So like a friend of mine called me just the other day and he says, you know what, I got a house that I'm looking for a house for rent in Cleveland Heights. I want it to be a 4-bedroom. I need 2 bathrooms. I need this. He was like, when that comes to you, please make sure you tell me, because that's what we're looking for. And I'm thinking like, there you go, right? There you go.
Clear and concise.
Yes. And that's the kind of stuff that we have to stay in on the vibrational wavelength, that this is a moment where our desires are just going to be popping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, it is the flow. Hey, Erica, welcome.
And also knowing that the contrast creates clarity too. So don't, like the Bible talks about, don't despise small beginnings. Like the contrast creates the clarity. So when the contrast, what we imagine to be contrast and stuff that we don't want shows up, or missed opportunities show up, it's just an opportunity to get clear, like even more clear and even more clear about what it is that I want. Mm-hmm. So that when it shows up, you're clear about that too. Yeah. But in our ambiguity, things can be murky, and we can't get what it is we want because we're not clear. And so the design is like a fuzzy, it's out of focus, if I can use that language.
Right. But you know what, one of the things I love to tell, to say though, is sometimes we get so clear that we block our own stuff, right?
Well, yes.
So I will say, I love to say, or for my highest and best good.
Yeah.
Because I don't always know, sometimes I think I know what my blessing is going to look like.
That is a perfect caveat. Like, no, that's really good. It's true. Because we could be shortchanging ourselves.
Ooh. and trust me, I have.
Thank you. I'm glad you grabbed that. Did somebody tell you? Because I was about.
I just looked at that. My cousin said to me, she was like, "Girl, you've been putting all your hair up on the top of your head." And I was like, "Yes, I'm doing the updo. I got to figure it out." We
get it all in the morning. It's like. Yeah, but we're doing it, but
I don't have
a lot.
Those, I think about all the time, like, oh, I should get some locks or some sister locks, or.
Oh my God, your hair is so beautiful.
Yeah, I thank you, but yeah, I think about that. I was like, oh, that would be so much easier if I get some locks, or if I get something done to my head. But then it's like, well, when it's right, it'll happen. I'm like that on a whole lot of stuff. When it's right. the right opportunity. Uh,
Yeah.
um, Erica says blue is a good color on Stephanie. It's popping on
Oh,
her
good
skin.
morning, Erica. I thought the same thing. I was like, hey, I like this blue on me. I thought that too. So thank you for the affirmation. Hey,
Jessica,
Jessica.
yeah, Jessica just sent out a shout out. I've been yesterday. I was praying for you, knowing that all things are working for your good.
Yes, yes.
Yay, yay, yay. So whenever you're ready, Jessica, we are of course open and receptive and
Meet us on the playground.
yeah. So and my workout this morning, um yeah, I was just like, let me just get down here and do this because on Mondays and Wednesdays, so I work out twice a day, every day. I'm not planned, but
Hmm.
on Mondays and Wednesdays, I work out with my cousin at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8:30.
In the
Because she,
evening.
yeah, because she's in Seattle.
Okay.
So she'll work out with me when
Fun.
she gets off work. Yeah. And and so that's a 3 hour time difference. So and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays I do yoga, and so I end up getting in these 2 a days, and so I feel like I'm constantly in stretch pants and t-shirts, but it's all good.
Yes, me
It's all
too.
good. It's,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Me too. That's has
Yeah,
been my shopping spree, has been my workout clothes, and yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Which is so different, but it is what it is for this season right now.
And since I get these power surges all the time, it is better for me to be in the simplest stuff possible. Yeah, because I can come out of some clothes in a hot second. So um so yesterday we started, for those of you who are just tuning in, we started the Anatomy of the Spirit, with Caroline Myss, and we are discussing highlights out of this as we journey through the book, and not necessarily like a book study that we are doing where we go line by line. I have done that in Course in Miracles because the Course in
Mm,
Miracles deserves a line by line.
so good. Yes.
Yeah. And so the Course in Miracles, it has a different kind of density, but with Carolyn Miss's book, part of the story, her story, is understanding how she became what is known as a medical intuitive. And a medical intuitive is, and we are all intuitive,
Yes. That's the takeaway today.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when we can clear out our stuff that blocks our ability to see.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes the difference between us being able to see and our not being able to see is the thought that we can't see.
Yes. Can you still hear me? Because my picture is frozen.
Yes, your picture is frozen, but I can hear you fine.
Awesome.
I didn't
Okay,
even
perfect.
notice that you weren't that you weren't moving. She says like, okay. The power surge question. so so it is sometimes when we, because we can get information, we can see insights, but what the problem becomes is that we don't often make space for or have the awareness that those things are possible for us.
Hmm.
And so it becomes a thing that we have to cultivate.
Yes.
um yeah, it's, like some people will say, something like they have to develop a taste for a particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of relate it to that. Like, it's an acquired taste. Well, it's an
Mm-hmm.
acquired learning to
Mm-hmm.
be able to trust and then to be able to act on that. So like, say for instance, when I saw that massage table yesterday, I could have
Mm-hmm.
stopped when I first saw it. I could have
Yes.
stopped, but I went on to the store. I went into the store and then it was like, I was like, okay, now I'm going to walk back out of the store because I'm gonna go see about that table. So what that did was is it gave the universe time to get the guy there
Guy
that
in
was
the
supposed
truck.
to take this
Yes.
thing home for me.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
yeah, because it's a different setup if I go there and the guy hasn't arrived yet.
Hmm.
So it's that meeting place. It's that,
Yes.
it's that setup that has to happen. So when I say we're in our divine right place, there are things that, so this guy, he had to show up on the scene, then he had a truck, then he had some stuff in his truck, but now, okay, like I need to get this stuff out of the way so that I could get this girl her table and take it to her house. All of those things had to be in place in order for
Yes.
that to unfold.
Yeah, and then I think it's in this Caroline Myss book, I think, where it says that this current moment is the answer prayer, is the answer to prayer. This current moment, our current moment,
Yes.
and
Yes.
in that awareness, all of the things like you described that are happening behind the scene are happening for your sacred yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what's the thing becomes is what's the prayer at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say to you that some of us don't realize that we're always praying.
Always. Yes.
People will tell me about, oh, I pray on, certain times a day, or I pray with people, I pray blah, blah, blah. But we are always praying. Yesterday, we talked about the posse, the spiritual posse that we
Mm-hmm.
carry along with us. There is a unseen hand. There is a receptive ear that is always listening,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Just sit in that.
wait a minute. So Erica asked a question, but did you need know that the universe had to set that up, or is it just fate? Now, watching words, let me say this, Erica, because I do like to be intentional with my words. There is a difference between destiny and
Mm.
fate. Is one of those things that seems like it comes as a calamity, and
Hmm.
destiny is something that is open at the top. It's like, whoo, I just stepped into destiny. Or we can look at it like I just stepped into fate. So there is a difference in the texture of the word. So we have to think about the feel or the vibrational energy around the words that we use. So, um, so did I need to know that the universe had to set it? I did not. All I needed to do was to act on the impulse that I got. The impulse
Right.
that I got was, oh, look at that. There's a table there. Now, let me say this to you too. I got this thing. I was, I got this thing for um, Arthur Treacher's fish,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
Whenever I go to this particular store, whenever I go in Garfield over there, I stop by Arthur Treacher's and I get 2 pieces of fish, $3.98. I don't want the fries. I don't want the coleslaw. I just want that fish, 2 pieces of fish. So I was thinking to myself as I saw this table and I'm passing by, I was thinking to myself like, I'm gonna go ahead in the store. And then I was thinking to myself like, but wonder if I don't go past there, if I forget that it's over there. And what could prevent me from seeing that when I go back? Oh, that I'm gonna stop and get 2 pieces of fish. And so I'm thinking about this fish at the same time I'm thinking about the tables. But when I come out of that store, I had this impulse, no, go now, right? It wasn't, I was thinking to myself, and I very clearly, even after the guy dropped the table off, I was still like about to backtrack and go back and get some fish because I missed my fish. Y'all just knowing about my crazy, right? But it was very clear the go now.
Yeah.
I felt it in my being, go now.
Yeah.
And so I think that comes up for others too. It is not just that, I'm gonna go do, you feel it's time.
Yes.
You feel it.
So one of the things that my prayer has been, I wanted to be able to be very clear and certain about my intuition, because what happens in trauma is that knower is cut off, is kind of blindsided. And so then your awareness of it, there's a lot of ambiguity in the impulse until you master it again, or till you get really, really clear. So anyway, one of the things that I have been praying for is clearer direction, a clearer sound, being able to hear and know in my knower, go left and go right. Now I understand that the delay for me was because that request was attached to a desire for perfection. And once I released that desire for perfection and then allowed it to just flow, and then become grateful in what showed up, grateful for my awareness, grateful for the things that showed up, be it, some people may call it bad or good or whatever, with no judgment, just allowing it to be what it is when I became became again aware of intuition and aware of confident. Let me just say that, confident in the messenger became more and more confident in that experience. And so I say that to say that who's ever listening, it is a request and it is awareness that, okay, this is happening for me. And even in this book that we're studying, you have to just really request it and be aware of it and be curious about, that you want to have an intuition. You want to be able to know which way to go. And I think in that requesting and being aware that you have the ability, you just got to hone in on that, is super important to know that you ask and it is given unto you. It is a practice. It is a practice that you practice. So call it faith. I do believe words matter too, but I just believe that we can have what we ask. And when it doesn't show up, I'm always like, well, there's just more work for me to do. I don't know how true that is, but that's
so and so let me say this about that, because I know, because I get that is absolutely the truth, right? What you said. And there is sometimes this wrestling that we do because we want to be right. We always have this thing that we want to be right. And so what we do is that we wrestle with spirit. Like I could have said, yeah, no, I got to go get that fish first, right? I could have said that. Erica don't like author treacher's fish, but that's
what is wrong with you?
So wait a minute. So the thing is that when I eat, or when I eat, I'm the one that's getting full, not her. These are my taste buds. There's this wrestling match that we do because we'll get the situation or we'll get the sensation that we should do something, but I want to go do this first. I want to do what I want to do first. I want to, and so we hear the message from spirit, but we like, no, no, because I gotta finish this one thing, or no, because I gotta do such and such. We are always trying to say, and so that's why we don't have those serendipitous moments when we don't have them, is because we get in our own way. Now, and that being said, I want to also say that, because today in my writing, it came up about somebody who I know that was always like doing exactly what I talk about. The words, the thoughts, it seemed like they were always speaking for their highest and best good and moving in that particular direction. And so when it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? Well, I don't know what somebody's heart is, right? They can tell me all day long that that their whole thought is on the success of their business or on the success of their project or this, that, and the other. They can say that to me all day long. But, and it may be true, but on the flip side of that, what tends to happen is that if they have stuff that they haven't backtracked and done the real work on, then what they get is not what it is that they desire, but they get the effects of the stuff that they haven't worked on.
It's the truth.
The scripture that applies to that is if you have fault with your brother,
yes, lay it
leave
down.
your gift at the altar.
Yes.
And go make peace with your brother.
Yes.
And then you come back.
Yes.
Right? And if you've got places in your life that you have not dealt with issues, so whatever that issue may be, if you got stuff, people you holding stuff against, or people who are holding stuff against you, if you got all of this bad negative energy that's going on in your life, you got to clean that stuff up.
Yes.
Those things still, when Caroline Myss talks about your biology, the stuff that you're holding in your stuff. So it's kind of like, can you imagine trying to fill a basket and there's a hole in the bottom? So you're putting stuff in, but nothing is staying in because you got a leak, you got a hole.
Yeah. You
got to deal with the hole first. Otherwise, all of your efforting won't get you to the place where you desire it. Does that make sense?
No, you're right. And those are, I don't know what's going on my video screen, so please forgive me. It just went completely away. So that makes sense. Yeah, that all I can say is that it makes sense and it's true, and that it's the awareness. I used to say that God loves me too much to let me go in or enter something, excuse my expression, half-ass. And so therefore, if there's areas in my journey that needs to be cleaned up so that I can receive my highest best good, then guess what? That part is going to happen. I have to have that experience. I have to get the cleanup part. I have to, and people who've had a root canal, you got to clean out the root before you put the cap on and create this new look.
Right.
It's a part of the journey.
Right.
The part of the journey. You got to clean up the stuff that doesn't work, or there's a scripture that says pouring new wines in old wineskin.
Yes, it just does not work.
It doesn't work.
Yes.
It doesn't even have the fresh taste. It's old, it's stale, it won't, so it's important.
It can't hold that new.
Right. Yeah.
And so Gretchen said that she has begun the process of cleaning up the past so that she can see her future path. And I cannot stress how important that is, because one of the things that we talked about yesterday was this idea of courage. And having the courage sometimes is, the having the darn courage to even look
Yes.
is like, because our minds want to keep us safe. Our minds
Oh, yes.
wants to distort even what we know. And so sometimes when I've dealt with issues, you don't even remember it correctly because your mind sort of wants to make it, I don't know what.
Protect you. It minimizes it sometimes. Sometimes it exaggerates it. Like, let's just take domestic violence for instance. When when the initial pain is over, then the romanticizing of the love connection instantly comes back.
Right. It wasn't that bad.
Right. And you start to make that part huge. And
Mm,
then you minimize the part that is the devastating parts.
mm,
You minimize that just to remain connected because we've been built for connection. And so we do that. And I call that the ego self, because the ego self says, I got it. And it's a power play too.
yeah.
People say, oh, I'm a victim, but victimization is a power play as well, because I stay in control of somebody's emotions if I stay in the victim place. Yeah, so we have a tendency to romanticize things that probably we should turn another type of attention to, like take it apart, clean
Right.
it out, scrape it out. Like
Right.
that wasn't good. I didn't like it. But giving yourself the courage to say, I don't like this. I didn't like it. It wasn't good. And then still be able to hold love and compassion in those same spaces. But that's what I tell people who come to see me. Like it takes so much courage to sit and say, hey, can you come and help me thrash out my hurt?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just like, let's go through it. It takes so much courage. People by the fourth or fifth appointment, they're like, this is too much work, I'm not going, because it is a lot of work, and they don't come back until they want to do the work again. So it is important for us to look at those things and let whatever comes up for us come up. And
Right.
then um and just know that with so much good is coming from that. So much good is coming from that.
So I will say that I want to say that sometimes what people don't recognize is that, so when I talk about this allness of God, right where you are
Mm-hmm.
is right where that person is that you have angst with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if that person is no longer in their body form, that
Mm-hmm.
does not sever that energetic tie that is there.
That's so true.
So one of the things that I'm constantly saying to people is that forgiveness work is not about that other person, but rather it's about you. So if you are not in a space where you are able to talk to them directly, or if you don't want to talk to them directly,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite things is if you don't believe in Christ, that's cool too. But the Christ in me forgives and releases the Christ in, let's say Eric, or let's say Jimmy, or let's say whoever it is. Say their names. The
Mm-hmm.
Christ in me forgives and releases the Christ in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn around and say, and the Christ in them, Jimmy, Eric, or Earl, or whatever their name is, the Christ in that person forgives and releases the Christ in me.
And it's mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
I said, and that is truth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you do is you keep repeating that over and over again. And because it's not one and done. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it is the unfolding of that needs to take place. Because
That's so
sometimes,
good.
yeah,
Yes.
we are not always in a space where when we start to do forgiveness work, we're not always ready to forgive.
Yes. Yes.
All the Course in Miracles says is all you need is the willingness.
Yes. Yes.
Not you don't have to know how. You don't even have to be ready. All you have to do is show up willing this
Yes.
to be released. And so then you begin to do the work. And through doing the work, it's kind of like you're walking through it. And trust me, spirit will walk you through this, right?
Yes.
So if, say, for instance, you are holding on to, but I'm right, I was right, they did this to me,
Mm-hmm.
they said such and such and such and such. And what you'll find is over time, as you show up willing to do the work, willing to have the forgiveness, what'll happen is that you will have a softening in how you see things, or they
Yes.
will.
Yes. Yes.
And it begins to work. The work is not done in your head. The work is not done. Spirit then takes over and does
Mm-hmm.
the work that you cannot do. It goes that mile that you couldn't transgress on your own. It does it for you. But what you are doing is you're speaking your word so that your posse can begin to work on whatever it is that's out there. But you have to show up in that, God, I don't know how to forgive this. Show me how.
Yes.
Ooh.
And remember in the first principle of this book that we're studying is that my biography becomes my biology. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's important to get that out of you. It's
Mm-hmm.
important to take it out. You get to rewrite the story. You get to rewrite your biography so that you change the body. You change. There's a transformation that happens when you decide to forgive. Um, you are actually changing a paradigm within your body when you decide to think a new thought. What is that I heard? Think a new thought. Think a new thought. Just thinking when we start to think a new thought, we're changing that. We're changing the past. We're changing so much, and we're taking back our power too. One of the things that Caroline Myss talks about is that one of the biggest fears that we have as humans is us operating in full throttle in our power.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to read this
Got a
here.
lot of feedback. Hey.
Yeah. So Gretchen said that the book resonates with her about cleaning up her past. Um, and then Jessica is thanking us for her prayers. And then she says, so is forgiveness of self and others must be the foundation to spring from. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that is the cleanup. That's the cleanup
Yes.
work that we have to do before all of the other stuff begins. Um, yeah, that's the cleanup work. And then Gretchen talks about how she's going to a wedding in October and she wants to free herself of her
Mm.
dislike for her ex-mother-in-law. And so Gretchen, here's one of the things, because that carrying around toxic stuff like that in your energy
Ah,
field is not good for you
yes.
at all. And it can be a big block in trying to get beyond and trying to get to a place where you are in a receptive place for the
Mm-hmm.
good that you want in your life. So yes, you got to work with that, right? So you can, if you do the forgiveness work, that would be great. Sometimes it is asking God, help me to see this person as you see them.
Oh, that's such a great prayer. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's such a great prayer because and if you're willing to actually do that, first but here I go back to the beginning. And how do you think that God sees everybody? You got to get clear about that too, because if you think that God is a God of judgment and condemnation, then you hold yourself hostage to that belief as well. But when you understand that all that is all that is, the love is for all that is, and then I got to see you the way that God sees you, then I don't, my hand, what am I going to do with that? Like, I got to love you. I just need to figure out how to make this feel like love right now.
Well, no, but you don't have to make it feel like love, right? Because if you have the willingness to see as God sees, right? Um, then it's sometimes what we don't see. So say for instance, like with the massage chair, I'll go back to that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I didn't see the setup. I didn't see the setup
No,
happening.
that's good. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All I knew is that I went into the store and then I was prompted when it was time to leave. I didn't know why. I didn't ask all the questions. All I knew is okay, now it's time to go.
Mm-hmm.
So the same way, sometimes we don't recognize, we call this person, if it's our ex-mother-in-law or ex-lover or something like that, we see this person as having done something wrong, but they could have been our setup person.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
It could have been the person who either was our liberator of something that
Mm-hmm.
we thought that was good for us and perfect. They could have been our liberator. They could have been the person that was shooing us on to our higher and best purpose. Because
Yes.
sometimes when we get comfortable,
Ooh,
we languish in our mediocrity
come
and don't
on.
go to where it is that we're supposed to go. So sometimes we need somebody to push us out of the nest. And a
Yes.
bird, when you push the bird out of the nest, he ain't looking up back saying, hey, what the hell you doing? I was comfortable. I ain't dying yet. They ain't not fighting that. You
Mm-mm.
gotta sometimes
Spread your wings. Yeah.
the person who seems as if they have just screwed you over is really Judas, right?
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Yes.
Intents and
Yes.
purposes, we thought Judas was the bad guy.
Exactly. Or was he?
He played a role. He played
Right.
a significant role
Yes.
that needed to happen. If it wasn't Judas, it had to be somebody else, but
Would have
he
been
had an
someone, right?
appointment to make.
Yes.
He had an
Oh,
appointment to show up for that doggone
yes.
trial and to go through that walk. So that role was necessary.
Yes. And everything is working together for our highest good.
Right. Don't get caught up hating the Judases of your life, because
No,
that person can be the person that pushed you into your destiny.
it's so true.
Yes. So Gretchen says, I am also writing a letter, several iterations to get the past out and to release it. Yes, and that's
Yes.
for your own
Yes.
clarity, right?
Yes.
I kind letters will result, and then I feel able to reach out. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so the personal work comes first,
Yeah.
because we have to get to a place where we release the blame
Yes.
and see ourselves on a journey. And on that journey, we gonna have certain people that will be our liberator, sometimes our jailer, sometimes,
And I love that language.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah, we go through those things. So it's amazing how all of this stuff works together. Yay.
Amazing how time goes by so fast.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Ah.
Do you have anything that you want to out of the intro that you want to share or anything?
Oh, so the part about finding our uh that the point of our power is found in our powerlessness.
Mm,
And I'll speak that to Gretchen today. Like, yeah, so it's on page 18. It says that Caroline Myss says that I would come to see that the very feeling of powerlessness has led me to study power. For the lives of the mystics are lessons in physical, emotional, and spiritual bereavement and disempowerment, followed by the rebirth into a new relation. Let me say that last part. That the spiritual bereavement and disempowerment is followed by rebirth into a new relationship to power. So it's kind of like what we were talking about today, that if we render ourselves powerless, and that's digging through our stuff, but what comes from that powerlessness are all our struggles come this there comes a renewing of our power.
mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we can all, at least I speak for myself, we can all think of times where we felt powerless or hopeless or put upon, to only discover that this was like, oh my God, this was like the best thing that ever happened to me. But in the midst of it, it's like, what the devil is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
um but you find your power is found in our perception of powerlessness. Like if I had seen that table, I would have been so anxious. I was like, I gotta get that table now. But what I have learned too is that I can drive past some things or see some things that other people aren't even paying attention to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Only you and the guy, let's just imagine you and the guy that
Mm-hmm.
showed up there were the ones who laid eyes on that.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are just driving past it because if it's not on their vibrational radar,
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
but anyway, so the power, what I wanted to bring is to understand that powerlessness is a part of this journey, and it is not for us to settle in. It's for us to anticipate the power that's going to come from our perception of powerlessness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So I want to read this real quick. I had several things in this that I thought was significant in this particular section. One of which was the detachment that's necessary for her to
Oh, that's
really
so good.
have
Mm-hmm.
perceptions, good hits or good perceptions. Because one of the things that she says is that wherever you're standing, what you see is, and this is a Course in Miracles lesson too, we don't see things in their fullness. We see it from our perspective. And so it requires a certain detachment to be able to see that our truth is not the only truth. So
Mm-hmm.
if we are looking at a particular thing, we may see through a mirror darkly. I wanted to put that in there, but we may see one portion of it, but it doesn't mean that we are seeing the whole of it.
All of it. Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's
so
good.
we want to make people accountable for the part that we see, but that's not necessarily the part that they are understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't, I that's the way I'll articulate that. The other thing I wanted to point out was, sometimes I just have little things that I want to read to you. And so let me just share this part with you. It says, many people, now she was talking about how healing occurs for people. And she says that some people come and they are ready to be healed. She talks about a kid who came, his father came to him, and his father was worried about his son. His son was sick, and so he was really trying to figure it out. And so she was like, this was when AIDS first became a thing on the horizon. And she talked about how when they found out that he had AIDS. That father wasn't concerned that my son is gay and my son is all this. He was like, I want a healing for my son. We're on our way to you, right? And so she said that they talked about a healing program for this son, and they said that through the work that they did together, this young man was healed. And then here's what she says after that. Many people, I might note here, enter their healing programs as if they were being punished. Norm and I have since worked with countless individuals, including women who suffer from obesity, diabetes, and chronic pain. I'm on page 24.
Okay.
We spoke with her about how she could improve her health, her condition immediately by changing to a healthy nutritional program and exercising moderately. Her response was, absolutely not. I could never do those things. I don't have any willpower. What other suggestions do you have for me? Peter, in contrast, accepted his personal responsibility for healing with gratitude and treated all the demands of his healing program as effortless. 6 weeks later, his blood test was HIV negative. Peter is now a practicing attorney, and he remains HIV negative to this day. So what she was saying, you heard what she said, but that our healing is our responsibility. It's not the doctor's responsibility. It's not your minister's responsibility.
Right.
It is, if you get some guidance, taking that guidance with a love and appreciation and be like, okay.
Yes.
I will say to you, and I've been talking about this 5 a.m. group that I'm a part of, that Stephanie is also a part of now. I was resistant.
Were you?
Yeah, all of last year. I heard Rhonda say something about it, and I had been praying about, God, I want to write a book. I want to publish my own book. And so every time I heard her say something, I felt a twang. I felt some kind of like twang. And so then I made a commitment to myself. Okay, after the first of the year, I'm going to join the 5 a.m. writers group. Because before I was just like, yeah, I'm just getting up at that hour, that I ain't gonna do that, blah, blah, blah. I was so resistant. But it is in letting go of my resistance that my blessing opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognize that it is not just about, we want to pray and then we want God to do all the work. Okay, we're going to pray and then over there.
Yeah.
But the real thing is that, okay, let me commit, let me put in the work, let me do what I have to do, and then the way will be made for me, because I got to participate.
It's the truth.
Yeah. You say, you want something. If I want to publish a book, I actually have to do some writing, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, there is a part that we have to play. And then being able to hear the promptings, right? And sometimes in the midst of a conversation, you can hear a prompting. I used to get like sensations. I remember talking to a woman, and in the midst of while I was talking to her, I saw this bull, and this bull scratched the ground, it snorted, and then it looked at me. I was thinking to myself, like, okay, she ain't gonna be moved. It was just that clear. It was that clear. I was like, okay, she ain't gonna be moved. But at the same time, neither was I.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
And
Waiting for
so,
those days.
yeah, so you need to know when it's time to, to pack up your stuff and be like, okay, this, I already ain't no
Right.
sense in me sitting here. I have a girlfriend that's like that. She will argue you down like she gonna wear you down or something. You want to know, like, who you think you're gonna convince? I don't care how many times you say this and how many different ways you put it. No, it's not happening. Oh, but she will try to wear you down to the point where you just be wanting to just pop her.
Yeah, tenacity,
Yeah,
right?
but at a certain point, you got to know when you just spinning your wheels, right?
Yeah,
When this ain't happening. We want to make that guy be the right one, and it ain't happening.
right.
If you honest with yourself, it ain't happening. It ain't right. It ain't gonna happen. No matter
Right,
how much you want to will it to be so. It
exactly. And then there's a beauty in releasing things too,
whew,
because when you release, then you find out the truth. And some of
mhm.
us are afraid to find out the truth. That's why resistance comes into play, because well, we'll probably talk about tomorrow. Like, the second principle is personal power. It that we hold on with this thought that I have power over this, and that somehow I'll just, resist, and it's going to come to pass. And really there's power in just releasing and allowing.
Girl, we still in the introduction.
I know. No, I'm like, okay.
That's funny. I'm sorry. but yeah, so all of it though, we, like I said, we're gonna be jumping back and forth, back and forth. It's all good. It's all in there. Whew. So yeah, we are way over our time.
Thank you.
Yes. I thank you. Sorry you couldn't see Stephanie's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I apologize for my video. It just went completely out. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad, so thankful that you're on here. Gretchen and Erica and Jessica, all of y'all,
Yes.
whoever, we are so appreciative of your time and your attention. And hopefully, I trust that you got something out of this. And the thing is just to be in a space of willingness, whatever it is
Mm,
that you're dealing with. I'm willing to see your part in it,
mm-hmm.
um willing to release, willing to and if you don't know what it is that's blocking you right now, whatever that may be, just be willing to just be willing to to be shown that. Everett gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
what did I miss? Whatever.
A lot.
Whatever. You missed that
A
house.
lot.
Big old house sitting there. What did I miss? Look, wait a minute. That's the what did I miss?
That's a song.
Out of Hamilton. What did
Jesus.
I miss?
Oh, is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
you missed a lot. You missed a lot. Missed a lot. You missed a miracle. You missed a lot. Get the tape. Is that what they used to say?
Yeah, it's all good. It'll be on replay. You can just,
Good.
if you so choose, while
So
you
inclined, yes.
at the desk working, you could just hit play and listen to it all over again. There is something wonderful about hearing a game in the midst of the game. If you already know who won it, it's not as good to watch it after the fact. But yeah, I still want to see that versus the other day, the Isley brothers versus Earth, Wind, and Fire. I want to see that.
Ooh.
you know, so what did I miss there? But
I
yeah,
didn't even know that was a thing. Look at
it
here.
was, I heard
Okay.
it was a major thing the
Oh,
other
I can believe it.
day.
That's awesome. Just the thought of it.
Hmm. So,
All right,
okay.
good people.
Yes, we are out of here.
Thank
Love you
you.
guys. Thank you for being here. And we'll be here at the same time tomorrow. All
Yes.
right.
All
Have an
right. See.
amazing day.
Yes.
Thanks,
Everyone.
Stephanie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.